How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos. Staring down from his cave with a sorrow grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a holly Whoworth. And they're hanging their stockings. He snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his grinchy fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow I know all those Who girls and boys will wake up bright and early. They'll rush for their toys. And then all the noise, noise. There's one thing I hate, all the noise. And they'll shriek, squeak, and squeal, race around on their wheels. They'll dance with jing tinglers tied onto their heels. They'll blow their flume first. They'll bang their trontunkas. They'll blow their hoopers. They'll bang their gruntunkas. They'll spin their trumtunkas. They'll slam their slunks. They'll beat their bloompas, they'll womp their wonkas. And they'll play noisy games like Zootzikarze, a roller skate type of lacrosse and croquet. And then they'll make ear-splitting noises, galooks on their great big electric Carnoog flukes. Then the Who's young and old will sit down to a feast. And they'll feast, and they'll feast, and they'll feast. They'll feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast. Raw roast beast is a feast I can't stand in the least. And then they'll do something I hate most of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, they'll stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'll stand hand in hand, and those Whos will start singing.
Christmas Day is here.
And they'll sing, and they'll sing, and they'll sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas singing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. I'll make a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. He chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeers are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? Ha! The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he took his dog Max, and he took some black thread, and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he whistled for Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Whos lay as news in their town. All their windows were dark, no one knew he was there. All the Whos were all dreaming, sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house of the square, "This is stop number 1. Then he, old Grinchy Claus, hissed as he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a minute or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings hung all in a row. "These stockings," he grinched, "are the first thing to go." Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present, pop guns, pampugas, pantukas, and drums, and checkerboards and blitzbigs, popcorns and plums, and he stuffed them in bags, and then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. "Now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stop up the tree." As the Grinch took the tree, as he started to shove, he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was no more than 2. She stared at the Grinch and said,
"Santa Claus, why are you taking a Christmas tree? Why?"
But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who was in bed with her cup, he crept to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar, and the last thing he took was the log for their fire. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for their other Who mouses. It was a quarter of dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, their ribbons, their wrappings, their snoofs and their fuzzles, their tringlers and trappings. 10,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh, pooh to the Who's, he was gringily humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They are just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. He paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But this sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded glad. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. He puzzled and puzzled, till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And then the true meaning of Christmas came through. The Grinch found the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2. And now that his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. With a smile to his soul, he descended Mount Crumpet, cheerily blowing hoo-hoo on his trumpet. He rode into Whoville. He brought back their toys, he brought back their floofs to the Who girls and boys. He brought back their snoofs and their tringlers and fuzzles, brought back their pantukas, their dafflers and wuzzles. He brought everything back, all the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Welcome Christmas, bring your cheer, cheer to all who's far and near. Christmas Day is in our grasp, so long as we have hands to grasp. Christmas Day will always be, just as long as we have we. Welcome Christmas while we stand, heart to heart and hand in hand.